Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 14, Text 31. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sushenascharu Deshnascha Shambho Jambhavati Shuta Anye Chakarshni Pravara Saputra Rishabhadaya. Are all the chieftain sons of Lord Krishna, such as Sushena, Charudeshena, Shamba, the son of Jambavati, and Rishabha, along with their sons, all doing well? Purport. As already mentioned, Lord Krishna married 16,108 wives, and each of them had 10 sons. Therefore, 16,108 times 10 equals 161,080 sons. They all grew up, and each of them had as many sons as their father, and the whole aggregate was something near 1,610,800 family members of the Lord. The Lord is the Father of all living beings, who are countless in number. Therefore only a few of them are called to associate with the Lord in his transcendental pastimes as the Lord of Dwarka on this earth. It is not astonishing that the Lord maintained a visible family consisting of so many members. It is better to refrain from comparing the Lord's position to ours, and it becomes a simple truth as soon as we understand at least a partial calculation of the Lord's transcendental position. King Yudhisthira, while inquiring about the Lord's sons and grandsons at Dwarka, mentioned only the chieftains among them, for it was impossible for him to remember all the names of the Lord's family members. Text 32 through 33. Tataivanu charasore Shuta devo davadaya Sunanda nanda shirshanya Yechanye sattvatarshaba Apisvastyastate sarve Rama Krishna bujashraya Apismaranti kushalam Asmakam bhada swarada. Also, Shruta-dev, Uddhava, and others, Nanda, Sunanda, and other leaders of liberated souls who are constant companions of the Lord are protected by Lord Balaram and Krishna. Are they all doing well in their respective functions? Do they, who are all eternally bound in friendship with us, remember our welfare? Purport. The constant companions of Lord Krishna, such as Uddhava, are all liberated souls, and they descend along with the Lord Krishna to this material world to fulfill the mission of the Lord. The Pandavas are also liberated souls who descended along with Lord Krishna to serve him in his transcendental pastimes on this earth. Transcendental pastimes on this earth. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.8, the Lord and his eternal associates, who are also liberated souls like the Lord, come down on this earth at certain intervals. The Lord remembers them all, but his associates, although liberated souls, forget, due to their being Tatastha Shakti, or marginal potency of the Lord. That is the difference between Vishnu Tattva and Jiva Tattva. The Jiva Tattvas are infinitesimal potential particles of the Lord, and therefore they require the protection of the Lord at all times. And to the eternal servitors of the Lord is pleased to give all protection at all times. The liberated souls never, therefore, think themselves as free as the Lord, or as powerful as the Lord, but they always seek the protection of the Lord in all circumstances, both in the material world and in the spiritual world. This dependence of the liberated soul is constitutional, for the liberated souls are like sparks of fire that are able to exhibit the glow of fire along with the fire, and not independently. Independently, the glow of the sparks is extinguished, although the quality of fire, or the glowing, is there. Thus those who give up the protection of the Lord and become so-called lords themselves, out of spiritual ignorance, come back again to this material world, even after prolonged tapasya of the severest type. That is the verdict of all the Vedic literature. Text 34. Bhagavanapi Govindo Brahmanyo Bhakta Vatsala Kachit Pure Sudharmayam Shukamaste Sruhridvrta. As Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives pleasures to the cows, the senses, and the brahmanas, who is very affectionate towards his devotees, enjoying the pious assembly at Dwarka Puri, surrounded by friends. Here, in this particular verse, the Lord is described as Bhagavan, Govinda, Brahmanya, and Bhaktavatsala. He is Bhagavan Svayam, or the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, full with all opulences, all power, all knowledge, all beauty, all fame, and all renunciation. No one is equal to or greater than him. He is Govinda because he is the pleasure of the cows and the senses. Those who have purified their senses by the devotional service of the Lord can render unto him real service, and thereby derive transcendental pleasure out of such purified senses. Only the impure conditioned living being cannot derive any pleasure from the senses, but being illusioned by false pleasures of the senses, he becomes servant of the senses. Therefore we need his protection for our own interest. The Lord is the protector of cows and the Brahminical culture. A society devoid of cow protection and Brahminical culture is not under the direct protection of the Lord, just as the prisoners in the jails are not under the protection of the king, but under the protection of severe agent of the king. Without cow protection and cultivation of the Brahminical qualities in human society, at least for a section of the members of society, no human civilization can prosper at any length. By Brahminical culture, the development of the dormant qualities of goodness, namely truthfulness, equanimity, sense control, forbearance, simplicity, general knowledge, transcendental knowledge, and firm faith in the Vedic wisdom, one can become a Brahmana and thus see the Lord as he is. And after surpassing the Brahminical perfection, one has to become a devotee of the Lord, so that his loving affection in the form of proprietor, master, friend, son, and lover can be transcendentally achieved. The stage of a devotee which attracts the transcendental affection of the Lord does not develop unless one has developed the qualities of a Brahmana, as above mentioned. The Lord is inclined to a Brahmana of quality, and not of false prestige. Those who are less than a Brahmana by qualification cannot establish any relation with the Lord, just as fire cannot be kindled from the raw earth unless there is wood. Although there is a relation between wood and the earth, since the Lord is all perfect in himself, there could not be any question of his welfare, and Maharaj Yudhisthira refrained from asking this question. He simply inquired about his residential place, Dwarka Puri, where pious men assemble. The Lord stays only where pious men assemble, and takes pleasure in their glorifying the supreme truth. Maharaj Yudhisthira was anxious to know about the pious men and their pious acts in the city of Dwarka. Texts 35 through 36. Mangalaya cha lokanam, kshimhaya cha bhavaya cha, ashteyadu kulam bodhav, adyonanta shakapuman, yadbahu danda guptayam, swapuryam yadavorchita, kridanti paramanandam, mahapurorshika iva. The original personality of Godhead, the Enjoyer, and Balaram, the primeval Lord Ananta, are staying in the ocean of the Yadu dynasty for the welfare, protection, and general progress of the entire universe. And the members of the Yadu dynasty, being protected by the arms of the Lord, are enjoying life like the residents of the spiritual sky. Purport. As we have discussed many times, the personality of Godhead, Vishnu, resides within each and every universe in two capacities, namely as the Garbhodakshai Vishnu and the Kshirodakshai Vishnu. The Kshirodakshai Vishnu has his own planet on the northern top of the universe, and there is a great ocean of milk where the Lord resides on the bed of Ananta, incarnation of Baladev. Thus Maharaj Yudhisthira has compared the Yadu dynasty to the ocean of milk, and Sri Balaram to Ananta, where Lord Krishna resides. He has compared the citizens of Dwarka to the liberated inhabitants of the Vaikuntha Lokas. Beyond the material sky, further than we can see with our eyes, and beyond the sevenfold coverings of the universe, there is the Causal Ocean, in which all the universes are floating like footballs, and beyond the Causal Ocean there is an unlimited span of spiritual sky, generally known as the effulgence of Brahman. Within this effulgence there are innumerable spiritual planets, and they are known as Vaikuntha planets. Each and every Vaikuntha planet has many, many times bigger than the biggest universe within the material world. and in each of them there are innumerable inhabitants who look exactly like Lord Vishnu. These inhabitants are known as Maha Purushikas, or persons directly engaged in the service of the Lord. They are happy in those planets and are without any kind of misery, and they live perpetually in full youthfulness, enjoying life in full bliss and knowledge, without fear of birth, death, old age, or disease, and without the influence of Kala, eternal time. Maharaj Yudhisthira has compared the inhabitants of Dwarka to the Mahapurushikas of Vaikuntha Loka, because they are so happy with the Lord. In the Bhagavad Gita, there are many references to the Vaikuntha Lokas, and they are mentioned there as Madhadam, or the kingdom of the Lord. Text 37. Yadpada Shushrusana Mukhya Karmana Satyadaya Udvyasta Sahasra Yoshita Nirjitya Shankye Tridashamstadashisho Haranti Vajrayudha Vallabhochita. Simply by administering comforts at the lotus feet of the Lord, which is the most important of all services, the queens at Dwarka, headed by Satyabhama, induced the Lord to conquer the demigods. Thus the queens enjoy things which are prerogatives of the wives of the controller of thunderbolts. Purport. Satyabhama, one of the principal queens of Lord Sri Krishna at Dwarka. After killing Narakasura, Lord Krishna visited the palace of Narakasura accompanied by Satyabhama. He went into Indraloka with Satyabhama, and she was received by Sachi Devi, who introduced her to the mother of the demigods, Aditi. Aditi was very much pleased with Satyabhama, and she blessed her with the benediction of permanent youth as long as Lord Krishna remained on the earth. Aditi also took her with her to show her the special prerogatives of the demigods in the heavenly planets. When Satyabhama saw the Parijata flower, she desired to have it in her place at Dwarka. After that she came back to Dwarka, along with her husband, and expressed her willingness to have the Parijata flower at her place. Satyabhama's palace was especially bedecked with valuable jewels, and even in the hottest season of summer the inside of the palace remained cool, as if air-conditioned. She decorated her palace with various flags, heralding the news of her great husband's presence there. Once, along with her husband, she met Draupadi, and she was anxious to be instructed by Draupadi in the ways and means of pleasing her husband. Draupadi was expert in this affair because she kept 5 husbands, the Pandavas, and all were very much pleased with her. On receipt of Draupadi's instructions, she was very much pleased and offered her good wishes and returned to Dwarka. She was the daughter of Satyajit. After the departure of Lord Krishna, when Arjuna visited Dwarka, all the queens, including Satyabhama and Rukmini, lamented for the Lord with great feeling. At the last stage of her life, she left for the forest to undergo severe penance. Satyabhama instigated her husband to get the Parijata flower from the heavenly planets, and the Lord got it, even by force from the demigods, as a common husband secures things to please his wife. As already explained, the Lord had very little to do with so many wives to carry out their orders like an ordinary man. But because the queens accepted the high quality of devotional service, namely administering the Lord all comforts, the Lord played the part of a faithful and complete husband. No earthly creature can expect to have things from the heavenly kingdom, especially the Parijata flowers, which are simply to be used by the demigods. But due to their becoming the Lord's faithful wives, all of them enjoyed special prerogatives of the great wives of the denizens of heaven. In other words, since the Lord is the proprietor of everything within this creation, it is not very astonishing for the queens of Dwarka to have any rare thing from any part of the universe. Thus ends our reading for today. We will continue from text 38 on Monday, hopefully. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Niskam Shanta Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Muni Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmala Charya Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to Om Vishnu Pad Jagat Guru Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. All glories to Arupa Nuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. All glories to Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Nishingapali Dham Ki Jai, Ekachakra Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Ju Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham Ki Jai, Sham Kund Radha Kund Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees, Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai, Nitai Gora Pramanandi, Hari 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 Bol. Dhanavat Pranam.